Earth to Jerry Jones. Are you listening, Jerry? Are you out there? Are you watching? Or are you napping? Are you vacationing? Jerry, free agency has started. Movement has started all around you. Are you paying any attention to what's going on in Washington? Did you see what the Commanders did again today? It wasn't free agency that they utilized, even though they have the fourth most cap space of anybody, fourth most cap to spend of anybody in the league, and just watch what they do now. But they traded. So they went out and stole Debo via trade. So they got Debo Samuel, even if it's just for next year. I know he's a little longer in the tooth, but they went out today and traded for or stole Laramie Tunsil. Jerry, are you paying attention to this? Laramie Tunsil has made 3 straight Pro Bowls. By all accounts, he's one of the best left tackles, one of the top 2 or 3 in the league. He has been traded twice now, so there's something amiss, something afoul. I don't know why the Texans gave him up, but I know he can play. And I know what the Washington Commanders are doing. They're saying by the end of the year, this past season, they were the second best team in all of pro football. They were playing at a higher level, as they showed you in the NFC Championship game, than Kansas City was playing at in the Super Bowl. They had the best rookie quarterback ever. They have a head coach who should be your head coach in Dallas, and Dan Quinn. They have all new ownership and management, and they're smart and they're aggressive. You say, Stephen says you're going to be selectively aggressive. They're just all out, all in aggressive, to use your term of a year ago that you tricked us and fooled us and teased us with. They are flat out all in to win it all next year, and I'm going to give them a shot because I don't care if Laramie Tunsil, who's still got a couple of years left on a deal, pays him about $20 a year. I don't care if he's flawed off the field. I just know he can play. He's going to be a big improvement over what they had at left tackle last year. A huge improvement, Jerry. You know it, and I know it. So they upgraded at receiver. They have a bona fide 1A receiver. They have a big-time left tackle to protect Jaden Daniels. And did you see what the Eagles did, the defending Super Bowl champs? After Howie Roseman won the offseason last year, won free agency, and won the draft, what was the best defensive player signed in free agency a year ago? Well, I didn't know it at the time, but it was Zach Bond. They kept him. He was going to be a free agent. They kept him, Jerry. Are you listening? Are you watching? Are you paying any attention to this? Saquon was the single best signing of any offensive player in free agency a year ago, and they extended him. They kept him happy. They made him even happier. Jerry, this is your division. God knows what the Giants might start doing to you, but look what you've done or not done so far in free agency. Are you paying attention? You did keep Osa Odigizua, and I like him. He's a nice player. Is he going to change your life? No. But you just lost today on the first big day of free agency movement, the legal tampering period. Did you see what just happened to your team, Jerry? Chuma Edoga is a pretty good left tackle. He can play left tackle at a pretty high level. I thought he played it at a higher level last year than the rookie you took out of the University of Oklahoma in the first round in Tyler Guyton. I don't love Tyler Guyton, and I said it on draft night. He's a project at best. He's huge, but I hope he doesn't turn into a huge bust, because when he couldn't go or wasn't capable of going because he just wasn't playing yet at a high enough level, Chuma Edoga was once a third-round pick in 2019 out of USC, out of the state of Georgia. You know, those Georgia kids are. And, yeah, he bounced around a little bit, but you had him. And now pride goeth before the fall, because your pride is sunk into Tyler Guyton, and you had a more qualified, capable left tackle in Chuma Edoga, and Jacksonville said, I want us some of that. And they signed him. I don't know the money yet because it's not yet reported. Jordan Lewis, the Jags just jumped all over also. And I was hoping, because I love Jordan Lewis because he's just a playmaker. He's a baller. He's a gamer. He's somebody I could always trust to make a pretty big to very big play in pretty to very big moments. And Jacksonville today made Jordan Lewis the highest paid nickel corner in NFL history because he's worth every penny of it. He got 3 years, $30 million, but he got 20 guaranteed. You guys thought you could maybe keep him for $5 or $6 million? No, wrong. You lost him. So I'm looking at your free agent, unrestricted free agent list, and the NFL said, D-Law's still sitting there. Brandon Cooks, still sitting there. Eric Kendricks, your big signee of last year out of Minnesota for Zimmer's sake as your new defensive coordinator. Nope, he's still sitting there. Rico Dowdle still sitting there in free agency. Brian Anger, I think, is a pretty good punter, still sitting there in free agency. So what have you done? Well, Osa Odigizua. You kept him because that's what you do. You keep your own. And you gave him a pretty big deal, 4 years at $80 million, 20-odd million a year. He's a nice player. He's pretty good. You kept him. And you kept Marquise Bell. Every time I look up, he just looks undersized to me, number 14. And Wanye Thomas is a decent player. You kept him. And Wheat, you kept defensive line. Brock Hoffman's not bad. Guard, you kept him. C.J. Goodwin's very good as a special teams captain and performer. So that was a nice move. But he's a special teams player. And you kept Osa. And then finally, you blew me away. You knocked me off my chair today, Jerry. You kept our long snapper, Trent Sig. You kept him. Wow. I might celebrate. I might have an extra Diet Mountain Dew tonight, Jerry, just because you kept your long snapper at a grand total of 3 years for $4.5 million. That'll wreck your cap, won't it? What is that, like $1.5 million a year? $1.5 million. You kept your long snapper. Way to go, Jerry. You were paying attention. My God, Jerry. Laramie Tunsil, Deebo Samuel, Zach Bond, Saquon Barkley, Osa Odigizua. That's our marquee signee. That's really it. Osa Odigizua. Way to go, Jerry. Are you out there? Maybe you're on your yacht. Maybe you're deep sea fishing even as we speak somewhere, I don't know, in the South Pacific. I have no idea. So there was a lot of movement today that didn't involve the Dallas Cowboys because that's not what they do. Jerry drafts because Jerry can take pride in drafting because he can put his stamp on it because he has final say on every high draft pick. And he can tell his friends, by God, I knew it. I knew that kid could play. I knew that kid could play. And for about a 10-year run until the last 2 years, Jerry was pretty hot with the draft. Jerry wants to keep his own, and Jerry did keep his own. He made Dak Prescott the highest paid player, and he's still going to be next year in the NFL and NFL history. But he did restructure, so he made back some of the cap money. He made CeeDee Lamb the second highest paid receiver last year, and I stood up and applauded for that because he's the one baller on my team. And yet he restructured also. It doesn't take anything away. They just moved the money around and created more cap money. And I thought we had anywhere from like the 8th best to maybe the 12th or 13th best cap money. I know it fluctuates on the fly. I'm not sure exactly what to buy and believe about that. But we have still a lot of cap money. And I guess it's all going to the various Trent Sigs of the world. It's mostly earmarked for Micah Parsons. You know it, and I know it. That's what you're going to do because that's what you always do. You're going to make Michael wait all the way through training camp. You're going to make him hold out, and then you're going to make him the highest paid defensive player. I'm booking it right now in the history of the National Football League. And then he'll be a little out of sync, a little out of sorts, not in shape, and he'll struggle through the first month of the season. I'm going to knock on wood here that he doesn't get hurt because he's not in shape. But that's how we do business. And your division just gets better and better around you. Don't let Shador wind up in New York. Just don't let, I know he visited Tennessee today. Tennessee is nuts if they don't take Shador. So look at the carousel, the quarterback carousel revolving around. Yeah, we still got Dak, and you can sell Dak because he's box office. He's such a good guy. And we'll always be decent with Dak, but I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, lifelong diehard. I know what Super Bowls feel like, Jerry. So do you. But I've been there a lot longer than you've been around. I know what it felt like with Roger Staubach going to the Super Bowl. I know what it felt like to beat the Dolphins and beat the Broncos and barely lose to the Steelers twice in Super Bowls. I know what that felt like. I know what it felt like to really live up to being America's team. And I know what it felt like when you had Jimmy and then you had Barry. You should have won 5 in a row, but you did win 3 out of 4. And I loved every second of it. And I wrote 3 books concerning that period. Way to go, Jerry. I don't want Dak and his I don't want to sustain mediocrity. I don't want 2 and 5 in the postseason. I'm sorry. You can have it. I don't want it. So I'm looking at these quarterback moves, and I'm looking what happened. So Geno Smith goes to the Raiders. I don't know what the Raiders are doing, because Geno Smith he can take you only so far. He's pretty good, but here's the point. He's a little better than Sam Darnold. So I really don't know what Seattle's doing, because Geno Smith just makes too many mistakes for me. He's just going to throw it to the other team in big situations, big moments. You can win games with Geno. He's gotten better and better. He continues to improve. I give you that. But with Sam Darnold, he had his career year last year because of that Minnesota defense around him and because of the weapons that he was throwing to and handing to on offense. Aaron Jones is such a good player. I wish he were a Cowboy. Way to go, Minnesota, for keeping him. But Sam Darnold, he's just deer in headlights. He doesn't have a command of the position. I said it before his draft, and I'll say it again. Baker Mayfield is better than Sam Darnold, and look at what is happening. And then Justin Fields to the Jets. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. He's just not accurate enough to go places with. He's a great young man. I love his character. Obviously, he's a big-time runner of the football. He's like Eric Dickerson playing quarterback to me. But you have to be able to throw it. They lost at home to the Cowboys because he's just not consistently accurate enough. And yet he's backed up by Tyrod Taylor, who's just made – look, I looked this up. By next year, Tyrod will have made $83 million in the NFL at age 36 in August playing, and he probably will beat out Justin Fields, and he'll be the quarterback of the Jets next year. The ex-quarterback of the Jets is washed, as in washed up, to use LeBron's term, washed. I think Aaron Rodgers hit the wall. And yet, he's still Aaron bleeping Rodgers, transcendent thrower of the football. So now the Giants are kicking the tires, and according to Adam Schefter, Pittsburgh is very interested because people just don't have quarterbacks. Russ is still out there, and people are saying, well, we just don't have anything. At least the Dallas Cowboys still have Dak Prescott, 2 and 5 in the postseason. It's just not good enough, Jerry. Jerry, you got the money. I wanted one splash move, one plunge, one something, somewhere, somehow. And now all the big names are gone off the top of the list. So, Jerry, I'm begging you, please communicate. Please, I'm sending you an SOS right here, right now. I'm sending you a distress signal. Could you please at least let me know you're still with us? Are you still in our galaxy? Are you still in our universe? Are you still paying any attention whatsoever? Or if you just drifted off into Never Never Land? That's my fear. We fear we've completely lost you. My little Maltese Hazel is getting revved up as I speak because she's had enough of me complaining about the freaking Dallas Cowboys and scary Jerry Jones.